Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to discuss the lesson, A Lesson in Humility by Sudha Murthy. You all know it is a prescribed lesson in your syllabus, and it is a very beautiful short story, in fact. Not really a story because it is something that really happened. It is not as if Sudha Murthy is telling you, some story like we hear in childhood, but this is something that has really happened with her. And she says that it is something that made her learn a lot. A Lesson in Humility is the title of the lesson. Uh, what is humility? Humility comes from the word humble, which means you keep your ego aside, or you don't think too highly of yourself, or you don't think that you're more important than everybody else. You actually recognize that there are others also who are very great people, probably greater than you. That is called humility. Accepting that is called humility. Now, let me just start my screen sharing and we can discuss this further. Give me a moment. Okay, here we go. And we now play. Right. So, A Lesson in Humility, as I said, is the title of that particular text. Now, here is Sudha Murthy. Now, Sudha Murthy, if you look at her, she looks like maybe a housewife or a school teacher, at the most a college professor. She looks very simple. She does not look like, she's a very important person, or it does not look like that she's one of the best women, best known women of India. But let us take a brief look at who she is. Sudha Murthy is a businesswoman, educator, author, and philanthropist. What is a philanthropist? A philanthropist is somebody who works a lot for other people, does a lot of charity work. She is married to the co-founder of Infosys, and N.R. Narayan Murthy. Narayan Murthy was awarded the Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in India for social work in 2006. Now, although both of these people are in the IT sector, in the computers business, they are also people who believe in working for the common man, who believe in doing good for the common man, and they have both together done a lot of charity work. They are both very simple and very down to earth people, and this is why Sudha Murthy is able to recognize the greatness in other people also, because she is able to keep herself grounded, to keep herself, down to earth. That is why she is able to recognize the greatness of other people. That is where all her humility comes from. Now, this is something we all must appreciate, that despite being such a highly educated woman, such an accomplished woman, she still says that there is a lot the world can teach me. There is a lot that simple people can teach me. Sudha Murthy began her professional career in computer science and engineering. So look at her. Does she look like a computer engineer? Does she look like an engineer, somebody who became an engineer back in those days when it was very difficult, even for boys, forget girls. But she really has done great things in the computer science arena. She's the chairperson of the Infosys Foundation and a member of the public health care initiatives of the Gates Foundation. She has founded several orphanages, participated in rural development efforts, supported the movement to provide all Karnataka government schools with computer and library facilities. This is very important. Schools having computers and library facilities. So this is something Sudha Murthy has been working for. She is best known for her social work and her contribution to literature in Kannada and English. She writes in Kannada also. Uh, the rest of it is a list of the things that she has written, and this essay that we have is also written by her. See what she has to say. Uh, Sudha Murthy's charity work, as explained earlier, Sudha Murthy wanted all government schools to be equipped with computers. We have to understand that even in private schools where there is more money, it is difficult to have the best of computers, the best of software, and the best of computer education. But Sudha Murthy knows, as a computer professional herself, she knows that it is very important for students to learn computers, for them to learn how to operate them, how to work on them, because computers are the future. There is absolutely no point in keeping our kids behind. So she wants all government schools to be equipped with computers. Very often people try to cheat. Sorry, she donated generously to many schools for the facility. She has given a lot of money to a lot of schools, but very often people tried to cheat her. They would come to her and tell her that they wanted to buy computers for schools, and if she gave away money, they misused it. And this was not something she liked, because it was her hard earned money, and she genuinely believed that this money should go for the benefit of the school students. To ensure that this was not happening, she would go personally to far off villages to find the truth. She would really travel far and wide where nobody really went. And she would find out if this school was really impoverished, if that school really needed her help. And if it did, she very freely helped them. Now, on one such school she visited was a tribal school in the Sahyadris. You have heard about the Sahyadri Mountains. Now, in these mountains, there was a very remote village, and there was a very small school in that village, which really did not have any facilities. The children there were very poor, and Sudhamurti happened to visit this school. She actually does not go to the better schools. She actually does not go to schools that are rich, because they already have everything they need. She goes to these schools where she's actually needed. Now, what was her experience in the village? Sudhamurti went to a remote and poor village in the Sahyadri Hills. There she visited a school which had no facilities. She decided to help them by donating umbrellas and cloth for the students. What happened was, the students there were very poor, as I said, and they did not have enough money for uniforms. They would only have maybe one set of clothes, and when that set of clothes got wet in the rains, it was very difficult for them to attend school the next day, because they really did not have clothes. So what were they going to do? They stayed home. In order to stop this, Sudhamurti decided that it was very essential to give umbrellas to the kids so that they did not get wet. And if they did get wet, they should have uniforms. They should have a spare set of uniforms so that they can wear a dry uniform to school the next day. So when she went with those things, that is, large bundles of cloth and umbrellas, the community leader refused to take her help until she also accepted something from him. Now, remember, this is a tribal area, and you know that tribal areas are very poor areas. But the village leader, who is called the Tandappa, a village in that area in Karnataka is called a Tanda, and the person who heads the Tanda is called the Tandappa. So the Tandappa there said he's not going to take the gift of cloth and umbrellas until she also took something from him. Now imagine somebody who's so poor is offering something in return. Okay. Murthy was very touched that those poor people were so cultured that they didn't take anything until they could give something back. The Tandappa very clearly told her that in their culture, they were not allowed to accept any gift unless they returned something, unless they had a return gift. So, although Sudhamurti had everything she needed, she herself has a lot of money, which is why she is able to donate so much. But despite having everything and despite not needing anything, the Tandappa, who was so poor, was telling her that I cannot accept your gifts, because if you don't accept anything from me, then it does not fit into my culture. I have to give you something in return for the gifts that you have brought. As I was explaining, a Tanda is a community of tribal people who live in the Sahyadri Hills. A Tandappa is the eldest member of the tribe. So when I was talking about the Tandappa, this picture that I have given you here is a generic picture. It is not, of the Tandappa that Sudhamurti met, but this is just something, it tells you that this is the kind of poor house that the Tandappa might be living in, and this is what he might be looking like. So the community leader, who's called a Tandappa, is a very respected member of that community. He is considered very important as he takes decisions for his tribe, and the tribe has to obey him. So he's let us say like a sarpanch. He is definitely a leader of the community, and he's highly respected, and people generally do not go against his wishes. If he has made a decision, then people have to abide by it. That means he's sort of like a king of that community. uh, He is considered almost a living god, and all are beholden to him. That is, all are required to listen to him. So if you respect somebody like a god, then you have to listen to him, right? He practices all the customs taught to him in childhood, and everyone follows him. So in a way, he's also a guardian of the culture of the tribals. So what this means is that he preserves the culture. He makes sure that the next generation learns that culture. And that is why it is very important for these people to follow him. He makes sure that everybody gets a good lesson in how you should conduct your life. That is what a Tandapa is. So in that community, he's almost a god. He's almost a king, and everything he says is highly respected. Now, this is again, this picture definitely is not a picture from the school that Sudhamurthy went to, but this is a bit of a representative picture. That means it kind of shows you what that school might have been like. Now, you can see that the children are sitting on the floor. There are no desks, there are no benches, there are no amenities. You can see that the walls are not painted. All they have is a rug that is put on the floor, and everybody is sitting on that floor. The first time Sudhamurthy visited the school in the tribal belt of the Sahyadri Hills, she saw that the school was full of shy but curious children. Children are curious by nature. They always want to know, what is this? How does this work? What is happening right now? They're very curious. They want to know everything. So she saw that the kids there were shy. They did not easily talk to anyone. They did not easily open up to anyone, but they were very curious. They wanted to know things. They did not have good clothes on them, and they often could not come to school because of the rains. I just told you that they did not have many clothes, and when their uniform got wet, uh, that was that they could not come to school the next day because it was wet and it had not dried, and they did not have more clothes. Very often what happens is that children don't even have different clothes to wear at home. They just wear their uniforms. But they wanted good education. These children, they wanted good education, and asked Sudhamurthy if they could have books on computers in Kannada. These children were learning in their mother tongue, which was Kannada, and they could not understand much of English. So when they saw books that were written in English, it was a barrier to their learning. So they asked, "Can we have books in Kannada on computers?" They wanted to see a computer, they wanted to work on a computer, they wanted to play games on a computer, they wanted to know how a computer worked. So they asked her, "Can we get books on computers in Kannada?" Now look at these children again. All these pictures I have taken up from the internet. None of these pictures are from the school that Sudhamurthy visited. But again, this is what the school might have looked like. Now, if you see, there are tables, there are computers, there's a mouse that the child is operating. You can see a keyboard, and you can see something is happening on the screen, which means the computer is working. The tribal village that Murthy visited was very poor, and the school had no facilities. The children there had never even seen computers in real life. They had only seen it on TV. They had TVs, but they did not have any computers. On TV, they would see people operating computers, and computers did all sorts of magic. So they were wondering what this was all about, and they were wondering if it was possible for them to learn something, and for them to operate computers. Although the children came from very poor families, and even the school was too poor to teach them computers, they still dreamed of a better life. They knew that if they could get an education, they knew if they could take up computers as one of their subjects, they knew if they could operate computers, they would fetch better jobs. And that is why they were very keen to learn. They wanted to learn modern technology to get ahead in life. See, living in a village is all very very attractive for people who live in cities. We think the air is clean, the water is clean, there's no pollution, there are no problems really. But actually, people who live in these remote hills, although the surroundings are beautiful, the challenges are terrific. So a lot of people want to get out of there. They want to move to the cities. And although this is not ideal, we all know that life in the city offers more job opportunities. So the children wanted to move out of that place, go to a better place, and start a life that gave them more opportunities, which is why computers were essential. Now, in the first step, Sudhamurthy saw that the children were very poor. They were shy, but they were very curious. They wanted books, they wanted computers, they wanted books in Kannada on computers. So she had done she had done one trip of the school to just find out what the school really needed. So when Murthy returned to the tribal village in the Sahyadri Hills for the second time, the rains were gone. So the village might have looked something like this. You can see it is very beautiful, very beautiful. But there are no amenities. You also have to take a look at that. In order to get out of this place, in order to go to a place with better amenities, you have to have an education. Now, it was now winter season, so there was no mud and no frogs were croaking. It was a complete change from the first time. The sky was clear. It was so beautiful that Murthy says it was like paradise. You can see this picture here. Again, a generic picture from the internet, but this is exactly what it might have looked like. Many rare flowers had bloomed, birds were chirping, the atmosphere was really wonderful. Now, here is when she gets that lesson in humility that she's talking about. She says that she brought cloth and umbrellas to donate to the school. I told you the reasons why cloth and umbrellas needed to be donated. Uh, but the Tandappa, he refused to take it unless she accepted his gift. He also had a gift to give her. This was a bottle of the juice of a flower that had health benefits. Some kind of flower, there was a red flower from which he had extracted the juice, and the juice was supposed to have medicinal properties. The Tandapa told her that if she took, 1 teaspoon in a glass of water every day, it would keep off all the common complaints, like you wouldn't suffer from cough and cold, you wouldn't have minor ailments, your digestion would be better, something like that. So he insisted that she must take that bottle. And when she thought, this is something that they would make in the summer, and after it was made, it was bottled, it was used throughout the year. So the Murthy thought that this is something that they had made for themselves. Why should she take it? She had all the medicines that she wanted in Bangalore where she lived. So she did not have any trouble finding any doctors, any trouble getting any medicine. So she did not really want to take that bottle, thinking that this was more valuable for the tribal people. This was more valuable for the people who had made it. So she refused. But the Tandapa refused to take any help from her until she took that return gift. Although it was an humble gift, Sudhamurti was touched by it because it showed that the tribals were humble but self respecting people, and their culture did not allow them to take free gifts. Their culture, see, we often tend to think that we people who live in the city and who are highly educated, we are the more cultured people. There's no such thing. Every civilization has its own culture, and every culture is equally rich. So the tribal culture is such that people are very self-respecting. They respect their dignity. They want to live on their own terms. And if you're offering them something, they will not take it without giving you something in return. This was, Sudhamurti says, a lesson in humility. It made her feel that this Tandappa or the people of that tribe were very cultured, and she felt humbled in front of them. She saw the greatness in these people, and she knew that this culture was also something to be respected. And she said that she learned a lesson in humility that day when the Tandappa refused to take a gift without giving her a return gift. A lesson for all. Look at this quote by C.S. Lewis. It says, humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. So, what is humility? Humility does not mean that you think you are less. You're not less. You are very important. You are who you are. You also deserve to live with dignity, everything. But humility is thinking of yourself less. Think less of yourself, think more of others. That is what humility is. And that is exactly what Sudhamurti had learned. Sudhamurti says that this was a lesson for everyone. In the cities, she gets many requests for money. When she does donate, people complain about how less it is or how she could have given something else. Often people misuse the funds, but the simple people of the Sahyadri jungle showed her that even if you had no money, you can still be graceful and you can still be a giver. This is a lesson that is important to all of us. My dear students, I hope you also remember this lesson because it really is an important lesson. So thank you very much. Give me a moment again. And again, I hope this has been an informative session. I hope that this will help you in your exams. I hope this will help you clear any doubts. Of course, you're free to get in touch with me in college or on my phone if you have any doubts. Thank you.